Good. And we are back.
As I was saying,
Yeah, you were saying the other day that Bautista was going to be Triple H.
yeah, with the sledgehammer, no
Yeah.
less. And I really think that the pay-per-view is going to end
Yeah.
right there with his hand raised, and then we'll leave King's X.
And then it'll be a glorious day, glorious night. Folks, that's exactly how it ended 21 years ago. You know what's funny is that I didn't realize it was such a long time until my boy Alfonso Gomez was going to be joining us. Oh, by the way, this is Slammin It. I am Mando Medina. This is Jack Lutz. Do you still go by the Jack of Rock or no longer?
You can call me that.
The Jack of Rock,
You
my
can call me
friends.
that.
I'm real good at giving everybody a lot of nicknames, but it's been 21 years. This is Slammin It. I can't believe it's been 21 years when I thought about it.
A brief hiatus.
Yes, a brief hiatus. For the people that are watching right now, thanks so much. We're live here in your city now, the city that crosses Las Cruces, New Mexico. And Jack, tell everybody where we're at.
We are in my beautiful gym. It's called The Gym here on Valley, and it's popping right now. We're about to hit that little rush.
Only $30 a month.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jeff. Time for the shameless plug, because there's going to be a couple of shameless plugs here today. Go ahead, Jack.
$30 a month, plus check out our military teacher specials. My wife just walked in.
Was that your wife?
This is my wife.
She's got to walk in right now. She has got to walk in on camera.
My wife.
Hi, I'm Mando.
Hi, this is my wife, Heather.
We've actually talked a lot of times on Twitter.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I now
this is
like
the lady
you,
I married.
you're responsible. I now gave you the power many years ago to take care of him. So, but you're not on camera. She's not on camera.
She will
Hi,
be.
everybody. So there she is. There is Jack's
gosh.
better half.
Wow, what are the odds?
You're a very there you go. You're a very patient woman to be dealing with this man here. The stories I have on young Jack Lutz.
We will talk about that
Yes,
later.
exactly.
Yeah, please. I just started sweating a little bit more. We need to crank up the AC.
Yes, we will talk. Thank you so much. So we're here at the gym in Las Cruces, Jack. It's a beautiful event. And like I said, shameless plug number 2. Jack, tell everybody what you do in the mornings.
You know, I host mornings on Rock 104.9 from 6 to 10. And then from 10 to 2, I'm on 101 Gold Classic Hits here in Las Cruces.
101 Gold in Las Cruces.
All owned by Bravo Mike Communications.
Before we move on, talk wrestling, because we are going to talk wrestling, by the way, folks. Like I said,
We will get there.
we haven't done this in 21 years, but like I said, it's like we started the show like, Jack, do we have a script?
No,
Do we have a rundown?
we never had one.
So it's just like this. So I'm telling you, this is how in sync we are. So before, I got to give you props. I know you guys were the Magic 101.
it was Magic.
It was
104.9.
Magic. This is Las Cruces, by the way. But you switched back to the Rocket. And shout out to my boy. Like you said, you saw Scott Ronson and Sergio. Mardi Gras as well.
Rick Mardi Gras? Yeah, you're going to make me emotional. A man that I've known I
Yeah.
didn't know
Well,
were
you know
this.
what? I had to do it.
A man that I've known since second grade into third grade, and I always thought he was the best of us.
Yeah.
And
So
he worked, down the street.
And
on
I'm
the
sure
10.
you knew that, like I
Yeah.
said, I gave him the nickname Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Because he came in and he said, hey, what's your name, bro? I was like, it's Rick Mardi Gras. I was like, nah, bro, I'm going to say that. Your name's Mardi Gras. Anyways, you and Mardi Gras started the rock station in Las Cruces, and you guys brought it back last January, or this January.
Yeah, this past year, yeah.
And let me just say this, and I'm not just saying this because you're next to me, but I told you, I texted you like, honestly, dude, I never thought that, and remember, I used to work at a rock station. I never thought that I would be listening to Static X at 7:30 in the morning when I'm working. Now, that is, you have no idea. For people on radio, they understand the beauty of being able to, at a rock station to hear Static X or hardcore Metallica or hardcore music like at that time in the morning. So
we bring the heat.
Yeah.
We're proud of that. We're proud of our rock heritage here in Las Cruces, and we're just very happy that rock has a station here, that the city once again has a proper rock station here in Las Cruces that we can call home. So
I will say it'd be better if I was on the show. I'm just saying that right now, dog. I'm just saying that right now.
The truth.
I'm just saying you're by yourself. You'd be better with somebody else. I'm nominating myself. If we did a morning, what are the name of your bosses?
Mike.
Mike. Hello, Mike. You're a beautiful man. Thank you, sir. Who else? I know there's a Shannon.
Yeah,
Shannon, my friend, please consider putting this together on your morning show.
It's Mike really who you have to convince.
Okay, Mike. Yeah. I used to deal with a Mike.
I remember.
He's gone now.
So did I.
Rest in peace. But nonetheless, if you'd consider putting us on your morning show, you'd think it'd be like amazing. I'm telling you, it would sell.
Because we wouldn't need a script. Bullet points is probably the closest thing we'd have.
We'd be a little more. We'd be more scripted. You know me. But nonetheless, I'm proud that you're doing all that stuff. So we're here. We're at the gym, and we're going to start talking professional wrestling. So a lot of stuff to get to. Well, there's a lot of stuff to get to, and of course, we're gonna have some people jumping in. I know Fonzie's gonna join us later on. I don't know if my boy Joe Nahara is going to join us, but still, the way when we used to do this on radio, it was what made this beautiful is that people called in.
Yeah.
And so
I'd be in the control room, or you were in the nice, luxurious studio, and I would have to handle the calls and the computer and everything.
Yeah, but I could do that stuff too when I had to. Anyways, when I was like at King's X,
me do it.
Yes, well, you had to learn, and now you control your own stuff. When you look at like I said, the beauty of this thing is that when it was radio, people called in and gave their opinions and what they thought of the show and what was going on in wrestling. Everybody, like I said, it's been 21 years. So, like, can you imagine if we had the technology now that we did back then?
Oh my gosh!
You know,
I would love to do this.
Yes, of course.
I would love to do that.
Which we're doing it now. Anyways, so. It was a call-in type of show, and when you see all these podcasts, people are usually just like the two hosts and don't have a guest. But what I'm going to want to try to do with this type of show is make it interactive, where people have the opportunity to, so to say, call in, but it'll be a video call-in. And now, like with FaceTime and things of that nature, I think a lot of people are used to the fact that the technology's there. They're used to doing all that stuff. And like I said, we're going to have a couple of people join us. And yes, we are going to talk to eventually to there's so many federations. Shout out to my boy Matt Mayer.
Yeah.
When we had EPWF, we had Lucha Caliente. I can't remember what else we had here in El Paso. And shout out to my boy Hector Rincon, Hurricane Hector, all those guys. You know, there's so many federations now, and eventually I do want to get the different guys that own the federations, want to have wrestlers on, reaching out to Cassandro, who still lives here in El Paso. We got Cinta de Oro, who travels, but is still home base here in El Paso. That is Sin Cara, the WWE. So we have a lot of people that we are going to get to that, but the whole thing is that we want to make it interactive, where you can, so to say, call in, like a video call in, and then you tell us what you think, and then as we progress, I will show you I will let you know how it's going to work. Because basically what it works is I have to send you a link to call in for that. Every show has a different link, so I'll send you the link, and then you can call in, dial in, and give me your thoughts. So let's start, dude. It's been a long time in the state of professional wrestling. Let me ask you a straight-up question, and this is not a wrong answer.
Okay.
No wrong answer. First of all, before I forget, this segment is brought to you by
Henry's Juice Shop.
Henry Juice Shop. What am I drinking?
Mega Tea. You got the Mega Tea. Did that wake your booty up?
Kind of, yeah.
That thing's no joke.
By the way, you see my T-shirt?
Yes.
Do you see your T-shirt?
Nice.
We do have Slammin It gear. By the way, the beginning of the show, that was the proper use of AI.
Which part? Look,
do that again,
my boobies
dude.
Moving?
Yeah. I can do that, too.
Yeah?
Mine's a little bit lower. Anyways, we do have Slammin It gear. Cynthia's Craft House Creations did that. I mean, eventually might sell the gear. You never know, but want to thank you for making that stuff for us here. See, the setup's pretty nice. Anyways,
hit me.
The state of professional wrestling, and I'm going to ask you right now, how much wrestling are you actually consuming? And like I said, it's different now because, like I said, we're older, wiser, older, but obviously we're at a gym. So Jack works here. He lives here most of the time, you know. So I got him a 2X shirt. Like if he was actually wearing the extra large shirt, you would see how like Jack. Did you compete?
No,
Okay,
I do train though. Yeah,
Jack's
I do
a certified trainer, so Jack's in shape. I'm in shape, so you know, I think that's the difference between some of these people that do these type of shows. Anyway,
that's one of the biggest differences from 21 years ago to now. I actually started taking better care of myself.
You've gained about
100 and
I'd say like about 50 pounds of pure muscle, though.
Yeah.
Easily. Anyways, the state of wrestling. How much wrestling do you actually consume?
So
because there's so much now.
It's hard to consume the Big Daddy. It's hard to consume it because of.
Okay, now when you say the Big Daddy, you're talking about WWE?
I'm talking about the E. I'm talking about the WWE.
Yeah.
It's hard to consume that, and I'll get to that in just a second. But, of course, you know, I watch AEW. I'll watch TNA and New Japan. I'll still try and, watch as much as I can do with that. You know, it's still, the MMA stuff, too. So, still stay on top of that.
And that's another thing. Like, I know it's called Slammin It. And you see, when I designed the logo, obviously, I wanted to put the wrestler on it, but I did design a logo, which you see. Hold up, right? Oh, actually, we see right here. No, you got the cameras.
She's flipping me off. My wife is. Giving
That's
me
awesome.
That's how she says she loves me.
That's awesome. So when I was coming up with the logo, I actually I put a wrestler, a luchador, because of the area we live in, El Paso, Las Cruces, Juarez, because we are a hotbed of lucha libre. So that's why I did that. But I also was debating of putting like an MMA fighter or a boxer, because if you want to, we can also talk about boxing, we can talk about MMA, but today we're just talking about professional wrestling. So it's hard for you to watch the mothership, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's hard to watch the big one.
Okay.
I mean, for various reasons. Obviously, the commercials. You have close to 40 minutes of commercials on a 3-hour show, and if you're looking at the ratio for that, that's 4 minutes of commercials to 1 minute of wrestling.
Yeah.
Dude.
So I bring that up because obviously a lot of people are very upset at the state of the WWE, and the WWE is making a lot of noise right now, especially what happened over the weekend, where this is the time of year when the WWE lets go of wrestlers, and we just saw that a couple of weeks ago. Actually, it'll be 2 weeks on Thursday. Actually, on Friday, they got rid of the White Six and a couple of other wrestlers. New
Day walked.
I was going to get to that. Last Friday, last Saturday, the New Day left. They walked. Apparently, with them, it was a situation where they told them, "Hey, you got to take a 50% pay cut," and they said, "Nah, bro, we're good. We're out. Can you please release us?" And they did. Now, there are people are talking about the fact that maybe they're going to try to keep Xavier Woods because he does all the video game stuff, which is beautiful, because if it wasn't for YouTube channels, we wouldn't be able to do this. By the way, thank you, YouTube, for being here. So I'm going to get to the point here. By the way, let's just we're going to talk about Backlash. We're going to talk about the Hulk Hogan documentary, because it just came out about 2 weeks ago, like right after WrestleMania. If you want to give me your thoughts on WrestleMania, we can talk about that. We're going to talk about, like I said, the Kofi situation as well. AEW versus WWE, but for me, it's more like the state of professional wrestling because of the way everything's going right now. So I remember 2 years ago, because like I said, I consume as much as I can, because like I said, we have life. You have a wife. I have a girlfriend. We still go to the movies. We still watch all the shows. By the way, if you're not watching The Boys, I don't know what's wrong with you. We still consume all the other media that we do. You have work, I do the broadcast things that I do. So I don't watch a lot of this stuff. But the beauty that I like is that I don't have to watch it live. That's the beauty of, because even this show right now, for those of you watching live, thank you. We appreciate the fact that you're taking time on this Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday. You can be having a drink. Maybe there's alcohol in here. Maybe there is. Maybe there's not. How do you know? You don't. But nonetheless, there's so many ways to consume it now because of the streaming. Because for real, I didn't get to watch Raw live yesterday, but I watched it today because I got Netflix.
It's so readily available.
I don't watch AEW live because I don't have cable. I don't have YouTube TV.
Right.
But I have HBO Max, and I can watch it live if I remember, or I can watch the replay the very next day. You know, TNA Wrestling, the same thing. So the beauty of these streaming services is that we don't have to watch them live. The point being, and I'm going in circles. A couple of years ago, we know Vince McMahon has done a lot of bad stuff. We have to say all that is allegedly because he has not been found guilty by a court of law. But at the end of the day, a lot of people were calling, all these people that do these shows, they were calling for Vince McMahon to be gone from the WWE. You know what to say?
Happened.
You know what to say, Jack. Be careful what you wish for. So now McMahon basically gave it all to TKO, and TKO, the corporate people, have basically turned the WWE into a product now that the fans are hating, and they would wish that McMahon was still running it, because in WrestleMania, the thing that drove me crazy and I couldn't believe it is that, one, they had no backstage segments at WrestleMania. None of them at all. At all.
None.
That threw me off. There were no, I think there was only one video hype package every night, and it was for the main event.
Mando, it felt soulless. It felt not necessarily rushed, but it felt like it didn't feel. Remember the feeling that you got when you watched a WrestleMania? It was Christmas. It was Easter's. It was all rolled up into one on a Sunday.
Did you say Easter's?
Easter's.
This Easter's?
Easter's, you know, so.
All right.
And
anyways,
you didn't feel that on a two-night show. On a two-night show, mind you, that's not new. New Japan would do two-night pay-per-view shows as well, but it felt soulless. The ads just kept going and going. Plus, the streaming itself had a few glitches here and there.
On Saturday, I had no issues, and even at that, we'll get to that. You just brought me. The way the show goes, whatever comes to my head, we're gonna go. Okay, so you got to have. To watch the WWE back in the day, and we're going to sound like a bunch of old fogies, but I know a lot of people are complaining about this. You just had to add a cable because you would watch Raw and then SmackDown, or whichever one cable. Now you got to have Netflix to watch Raw. You got to have a cable to watch SmackDown. You got to have
ESPN.
ESPN to watch the pay-per-views. You got to have one of the other streaming services or cable to watch what's it called? The one that's on right now that we're not doing, NXT.
Yes.
You know, and then all the other stuff, you know.
As much as it's readily available, it's spread out a little too much.
So AEW, when you look at the state of AEW, by the way, they came here a couple of months, or they came to El Paso. By the way, before we forget, Las Cruces, you're getting the WWE July the 11th. They're coming here to the City of the Crosses at the Pan Am Center. Jack, you're still working radio. I'm expecting tickets.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Guess how much front row seats are going to cost you now since we brought up the TKO machine.
That's the whole thing, though. The state of the WWE, that's one of the things that McMahon would have never let it get to this situation. Everybody's and the fact that it got to one of the storylines that actually people had to talk about it, that CM Punk mentioned it, you know, that Pat McAfee was, don't even get me started on that, but the fact that it became part of the story, that how expensive it is to watch a live WWE event. I contemplated going to WrestleMania this year because it was in Vegas, but no, I mean, there's no way I'm going to spend $40,000. Like I said,
he's not wrong, by the way.
I no, that's front row, $40,000. So many moons ago, a lot of people call the best WrestleMania of all time WrestleMania 17. That's when Hogan faced The Rock at the Astrodome. I took my dad. Shout out to my boy Steve Kaplowitz. He took Papa Joe Kaplowitz. I think we spent maybe $100 each for two tickets. It was $200 for tickets, and we were rolled I would say as you're going up, it was about maybe row 10. So they were great seats.
Okay, I was Go ahead.
WrestleMania 19 was at Seattle Safeco. Well, the main event was Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. Little did I know that was going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin's last match up until the WrestleMania in Dallas about 4 years ago. Yep. You know, shout out to my boy Jojo Garcia because we went to that. Those tickets were $150. Those were on the floor, but $150. This year's WrestleMania, if you're in the rafters, the last possible seat, it was $800.
$800 to
dude.
$1,000.
So which one did you go to?
I was at the WrestleMania in Phoenix. It was Undertaker, Shawn Michaels 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had tickets to this event, the girl that I was seeing at the time.
Yes.
Her boyfriend, she had tickets to WrestleMania.
Wait. Hold up, dog.
Yeah.
The girl you were seeing at the time and her boyfriend?
Her ex-boyfriend.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, so we drove to Phoenix, and then we went
You and your friend.
We went to the booth, and then the ex canceled the tickets.
Oh.
Canceled the tickets, and so
That's what you get, dog. That's what you get.
And so here's the thing: what are the people called? They said, well, why don't you go to the ticket booth and see what we can do? We can do an exchange or something. So we went to the ticket booth. We were in line.
Yeah.
And we had floor seats now to Mania. They offered us floor seats. Guess how much we paid? Guess. Throw something out there.
Which WrestleMania was it?
Again, it was Undertaker, Shawn Michaels 2 in Phoenix.
That was the
retirement match.
Was that
for
the
Shawn
steel
Michaels.
cage?
No.
That's when they both wore white. Shawn Michaels came out in white.
Yep. Guess
What row did you say you were at?
We were on floor. I want to say we were maybe 20 rows out. 20.
I would say
25.
$300.
Less.
200.
Less.
250.
Less.
200.
150.
Each?
150 total. 150 total.
Wow.
I am not joking. I'm not joking. I guess it was like, the day of the event, they still had tickets that were available. So that's how much we spent, dude. And this was, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't, but it has been. It has been.
So now, the reason why we bring all this up is because we just said Las Cruces is going to be getting the WWE, and tickets don't go on sale until I think like in 2 weeks. I think it's the 14th or the 15th or whatever. The ticket range that I've heard, it's going to be anywhere between $70 to $80 to $800 front row. Is that what you've heard?
It's being released that front row tickets are going to run you about $800. Mind you, this is a house show. Yeah. This is a house show, and a house show means that it's not going to be.
It's not on TV.
It's not on TV. This is a show that you get to see, and it's a little bit more loose. House shows are more loose, but they serve purposes. They serve a purpose to show, how well wrestlers work with each other, see if this main event's going to work out, to see if this feud's going to work out. That's one of the main reasons why you see house shows.
We have comments coming in. Like I said, this is new. Normally, I'll be honest with you. Normally, I have the whatever broadcast I do, I always have the comments turned off, but I want to see how it goes.
You're
and
bold, man.
I am, and like I said, eventually I do have the technology to put the comments on screen, but today's not that day.
Yeah.
So some
it's
of
our first show.
For Tony Quintana says, "What's up?" My boy Alex Chavez, known as Pinche Alex, saying that he misses, of course, Serge and Scotty Ronson. Tony says that break is legal to drink. Rest in peace, Scott Ronson, of course. Big Dog J _915 says, I think I was at the WrestleMania 21 show at King's X. I was 12. I'm now 33. That's the one thing, too, is that I felt very old because our audience was like all ages, which was beautiful. My boy Henry 710 says, hard to watch the current wrestling because there's too much talking. Long live the Nitro and the Attitude Area. And like I said, I'm going to get to that. Eventually, I'm going to get to that. Welcome back, Monstro, Slammin It, and Jack Lutz. Orale Carnal, my boy Andy Quintana, get to the return. Tony Quintana says Commercial Mania. Primetime 14. Es todo pinche Alex. You know Alex.
Of course.
So, and I'll get more to these. UTEP Jazz says TKO is greedier than Disney Brothers.
100%. It's the Vegasification of wrestling.
My boy Little Joe says, Hola, Monstro. Christian Molinar says, let's go. Also, David Holguin. My boy Christian has to watch wrestling. So, the thing being with how much they're charging right now, it's just getting ridiculous.
It's astronomical.
And that's why it bothers me that they're making so much money and they're releasing these wrestlers, having these wrestlers take these pay cuts because there's rumors going around that it was one of the not the main eventers. I'm not talking about Roman. I'm not talking about Cody. I'm not talking about CM Punk. It was like a tier lower that they told the wrestler, hey, they're asking wrestlers, hey, you need to renegotiate we're going to lower it, take half your pay.
Yes.
Because we basically what they're saying is that we don't want to pay all that type of money. And yet, and I do have it. I'm gonna have to.
Well, yeah, it's a big TKO restructuring that they've asked Triple H and the Ups and at Wrestling to restructure the contracts.
TKO CEO Ari Emanuel made $67 million last year.
Wow.
In 2024, made $18 million. Last year, made $67 million.
How much did Mr. Khan make?
I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
Mark Shapiro, the TKO president and COO, made $32 million in 2024. Last year, he made $43 million. WWE president Nick Khan made $6 million in 2024. Last year, he made $24 million. And then the other one, Andrew, the last name cut off. He made $8 million, and then last year he made $23 million. All I'm saying is that these guys are getting paid. And mind you, TKO also owns the UFC. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the one thing they are doing right, I don't know how UFC fans, but for me as a consumer, if you have Paramount Plus, that is the best thing going on because you can watch everything UFC related.
Yeah, and plus you got some banger of shows on Paramount Plus. You're going to have like the new Yellowstone spinoff coming out here soon. So I do like myself some Paramount Plus.
Okay, good. I don't have it, but nonetheless, I mean, I watch.
You want a jailbroken Fire Stick?
Yes,
I can hook you up.
Yes, well, just give me your password, dude.
Dude, I can just buy a Fire Stick.
Yeah,
I will break
that's
it
what
for
my
you.
boy Fonzie says. Yeah. When he calls in right now, he's the first thing he's going to say, brother, I got the Fire Stick. He tells me all the time. So anyways,
it's easy, right?
So anyways, it bothers me that they're asking these wrestlers to take pay cuts when obviously they're making the money.
Right. They've been structured. They've been tasked to now clear up apparently millions of dollars in cap space like it's an NFL team or something like that. And so I'm willing to bet you, Monster, that you're going to be seeing a few more cuts.
And so Kofi Kingston and, of course, Xavier Woods said no, so they got released. So it bothers me. And then, like I said, I was actually listening to some of these people from over the pond, across the pond. That means that's in Europe, y'all. Where the guy was saying that if it was me, I wouldn't take a pay cut. Well, yeah, bro, it's easy for you to say because it's easy for him to say, but you got to put yourself in that wrestler's position because the economy right now is absolutely horrible. It's not like there's jobs coming up everywhere. Like it's not like you can just bounce AEW because AEW now has the problem the WWE has is that you got so many damn wrestlers.
Yes, you got a lot of wrestlers that haven't even been on TV in a while.
And then TNA can't pay the same amount of money that the WWE does or AEW does. And I can tell you that for a fact because when me and my boy Andy Quintana and his brother went to see TNA pay-per-view here in El Paso. By the way, TNA is coming back to El Paso in December 17th, 18th. It's going to be a TV taping for the Impact show on Thursdays because TNA loves El Paso, by the way.
They love coming down here. They love the Coliseum.
Point being, it was $150 for a pay-per-view for TNA Front Row. That's what Andy, because he bought me that for Christmas. That's how much it costs, front row at a pay-per-view for TNA. They can't afford to pay the amount of money the WWE pays some of these wrestlers. So it's just the state of wrestling is very scary right now if you're a fan, and I understand why a lot of people are frustrated. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time when the WWE starts losing people, and they're making it prime for AEW. Yeah. So, like, what I did last week, I watched Raw in its entirety, and I watched AEW Dynamite, which is on Wednesdays, in its entirety. And the only reason I did that, because normally, like, I'll fast forward to the commercials, like, you want to see, like, the one thing about AEW, they get right to it. They get like they get right to the wrestling, And I mean, let me ask you straight up right now, which product do you think is better, WWE or AEW?
AEW, because
Why?
You're getting more wrestling per minutes than you do on WWE. I mean, if we're comparing that to Netflix Raw, you're getting more. You're getting more. So,
okay, here's a problem I have with AEW. I don't know why that. I'm not going to talk about the backstage stuff, but the backstage stuff still looks better at WWE. They still do a better job, I mean, I think some of the coachings, it's just for us to say because we've been yapping for all our career. But the only problem I have with AEW, by the way, like I said, I love AEW. Yeah, I love the fact that they just started off. I love the fact that last week they started with the championship match. I love the fact that when they came here to El Paso, they started with the world champ. That was the first match. You know, it's like they said, if you either want to be first or you want to be last.
Okay.
You know, but the problem I have with AEW, and this really bothers me. Last week in the main event, Darby Allin versus Brody King. And by the way, they did the right thing because Brody King is like 3 times the size of Darby Allin. And when Darby Allin came off the ropes and did the tope on the outside, he bounced off Brody King.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. The problem I have is that, and not just in this match, in a lot of the matches, is that moves that they do that are basically finishers, they bounce back right up.
Sure.
That's the only problem I have is that it's great. They do devastating move after devastating move after devastating move, but they're not really selling like every single one of these. They just bounce back up. That's really the only problem I have with AEW.
What Mando also is referring to is that you have a ton of false finishes.
Correct.
You have a lot of instances where a guy should be down and out. A guy should be, down for the 3, but he kicks out, or they no sell. And this is not only like with big moves. We're talking about stuff with tags. We're talking about stuff with tables. We're talking about with barbed wires, baseball bats, and they're taking this. Dude. And Darby, for better or worse, takes a lot of that punishment.
I saw Darby Allin wrestle Jeff Hardy about 2 years ago in a hardcore match, and they both did the ladder where like he fell on the chairs and like.
Oh, the back when his back got cut up?
And I don't know if it's just me, because I'm older, because I know when we're younger, we're like, oh, that's awesome. But, like, some of the matches that they do in AEW with the Moxley matches, where they get the forks.
He's going to bleed.
Yeah, but the fact that what are they called? The death matches?
Where the Texas death match. Or,
what is that federation called? Because I'm just top of my head where it's all like – where they use like your lights. What do you call that?
You're
where they it's all basically it's the type of wrestling where it's like where they're just like cutting themselves and
death matches. You're in the wrong.
It's like GC something. I'm not
GCW.
Yeah,
GZW.
Something like that.
CZW.
Yeah. First of all, I'm amazed that AEW gets away with that on. Is it TBS now or TNT? Whichever
TBS,
one it is.
On a basis, on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
You're going to see Moxley bleed. You're going to see Darby Allin bleed. You're going to see, gratuitous violence.
Yeah.
Violence that you would never. You wouldn't even see that during the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Certain times. You'd have maybe Takamichi Noku probably get his something, but they would allude to his member getting sliced off. But then they'd leave you hanging right there. You know.
UTEP Jazz, otherwise known as Robert, says AW caters to the IWC. By the way, the IWC refers to the Internet Wrestling Community. That's why they can't grow their audience. I think when I look at AEW, they're just trying to market to somebody different. And the best way I can describe it is AEW is kind of like ECW combined with the way TNA used to be.
Okay.
And throw in a little WCW.
Right, and I agree with the internet aspect of it, like the internet indie backyard wrestling.
Yeah.
The backyard wrestling, I think, is a big part of that, and I don't like that part.
So like I said, so the question I have for you guys is what do you think is better? Like if you're gonna, like I said, time is limited now. There's so many options right now because you can watch your Netflix movies. There's so many options now. You can be doing other stuff. So, like, when you're going to sit down and you're going to watch some professional wrestling, which one do you prioritize? Because I'll be honest with you, I prioritize, because I'm still old school, because it's easy for me to remember Monday Night Raw. I'm watching it on Netflix 6 p.m. every Monday because it's easy for me. I ain't gonna lie to you, I forget about SmackDown, yo. Yeah. Like SmackDown, I'll watch the replays, I watch the YouTube channel, but I really don't watch SmackDown live all the time. Okay. AEW, I'm watching live now. Those are the main show, but you got Collision, which is on a Saturday night, like I said, and God bless them. God bless them that they can have the
Saturday
replay.
Show.
Yeah.
And let me answer your question with a question of my own. When you're watching a pay-per-view, or I'm sorry, a PLE that it's called now, when you're watching a WWE PLE, Do you honestly have that many hours in the day for yourself? Do you actually want to dedicate that many hours to sit down and lose the entire day now for the whole weekend on a show?
The only time I do this, and my girlfriend knows this, the whole family knows this, is WrestleMania. It's like, it's debatable. Like, I don't care what's going on. It's WrestleMania weekend. I guess for the big ones, like for WrestleMania, for the Royal Rumble, for SummerSlam. Yep. I can't believe they're going to do 2 days of SummerSlam. The big four. Well, not really, because I really don't consider Survivor Series anymore like one of the big ones.
You don't consider it the big four
like
anymore?
It used to be,
I consider Backlash now a really bigger pay-per-view. You remember when you used to take the next day off after Mania?
I do. I literally would. I would take the next.
Tradition.
I would take the day off after WrestleMania because it was such an epic event in my life. Now you got 2 days. So I looked at the situation, and you talked about the WrestleMania, how they didn't have any backstage segments. It was nothing but commercials. That stuff, it bothers me. And I know it's bothering a lot of people. Your wife is making fun of you.
She's still flipping me off.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
That's how she tells me she loves me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an event. It was an event unto itself that you look forward to. It felt like a holiday. And it was for you. You took the next day off.
Yeah. At Mr. Little Joe 14 says they also have so many championship belts.
Yeah. All the federations.
I will say, and by the way, this is the WWE catering to the AEW audience, because they did something yesterday on Monday Night Raw that they've never done that I can remember in a long time.
Which part?
They had a 6-man tag match between the OG Grande Americanos and the other guys that wore masks, and then you had the Grande Americano, which is what's his name?
Jack Gable.
No, the other one, Kaiser. By the way, Kaiser's doing a great.
Kaiser.
I love Kaiser because he does he is very popular.
His Spanish is amazing, by the way.
By the way, Undertaker running Triple H. See, those are the things they're doing right. Like Undertaker and Triple A is amazing.
We totally left out Triple A, and I thought I think it's a banger.
And that's the one thing that I will say that I enjoy that the WWE is doing. But I think it's because they're letting them do their own thing. Right. The shows are on YouTube, and those are bangers. Yeah. Those are great shows because it's a combination WWE and AAA. Anyways, they had a 6-man tag match, and they called it a trios match. They never refer to that. AEW does that all the time. They actually have a trios championship.
That also goes back to, again, AAA, CMLL, even Lucha Underground, how they would have the trios tournament, the trios matches.
There's rumors
that it's coming back.
I saw, what's his name? Is it Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah.
I saw that he teased that they might be coming back, So, I looked at the situation. It's very concerning if you're a wrestling fan, if how much TKO has your influence, the whole Pat McAfee thing
Dude.
It was just, it's mind-blowing. That's what happens when you have people that aren't in the wrestling business think they can run the wrestling business and think they know the audience when they don't.
And I just feel that they're treating their listening and viewer audience as ATMs because right now they're willing to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to go to these events, to see these events. And like Monster said earlier, it is up to the people, it's up to you guys to say, you know what? No. And when will that happen? I do feel that that's going to be soon coming up. I do feel that the American and international viewing audience will say no, but I could be wrong because, again, we've left out the whole Saudi situation.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. If you got Saudis that are willing to pay millions upon millions of dollars for you to come over and to wrestle, dude, you got to remember, there's still a belt in Saudi Arabia that's only defended there.
Yeah.
So,
and honestly, they got to decide real quick if they're going to do WrestleMania in Saudi,
right?
Because of the war. But like I said, that's live, y'all. We're gonna get one of my boys. Like I said, this is the beauty that we're live here. Is that
cool?
There's Fonzie.
Hey.
Fonzie, what's up,
we got
brother?
our first ever guest.
Guys?
Our first ever guest is Fonzie Gomez. He's a hardcore wrestling fan as we are, Jack, and he's a diehard Hulkamaniac, as you are.
Yep.
What was the name of the gentleman that got me the team?
Henry.
He was a hardcore Hulk because we actually had a conversation. He would say, like, who's your favorite wrestler? I right away said Eddie Guerrero, Hulk Hogan, Von Erichs. You said Hogan. He said Hogan Stone Cold, but Fonzie, I know you're a big Hulkamania fan. So, brother, the floor is yours. Whatever you want to
Welcome to
bring
the
up,
show.
go ahead, bro.
Hey, you guys are talking about a lot of big points in regards to the shows and how everything is happening, and how it's changed. And just to bring it to light, and something that I've looked into right now is I remember they were talking about the union back then in the WWF, just Ventura.
Yep.
And Hogan.
And Hogan, but back then it wasn't ran by a company like TKO. So in a way, if you look at it now, this would probably be a good time to protect the wrestlers all around. To protect them and create a union across the board because for stuff that's happening with all these releases that are happening, big names that have been in the business for 20 somewhat years.
Well, let me tell you this. It's also the same problems that we had back then. You had Hogan, who was making millions of dollars, and now you've got Roman, who's making millions of dollars, and you got various other wrestlers that are making CM Punk that are making up to 7 figures now. Would they want a union now? Also, mind you, these guys are wrestling, guys and girls, they're still wrestling without health insurance. Come on, dude.
That's the one thing
Come on.
that you got to give Tony Khan a lot of credit is that they actually have health insurance out there in AEW as compared to the WWE. And it's like I said, for a lot of people like to bag on Tony Khan. Like, he's done a lot of stuff for the wrestlers, giving them insurance, I think he pays for their travel. Like in the WWE, you got to pay for your own travel. I mean, it's crazy. You talk about the wrestlers unionizing, especially the way it is, and they should. But hey, like I said, TKO, at the end of the day, it's like they both need each other. Mm-hmm. Without the wrestlers, you have no product.
Yeah.
But you're always gonna have the next wrestler up that's gonna be able and willing to take less money. It's kind of like in the radio business. When we first started in radio, we're making nothing, because you need them. And then when you establish yourself, you make a name, then they need you. So it's the same thing with wrestling, and like I said, the beauty is that there's more options now. You got TNA, you got AEW, so there's still a long way from unionizing the WWE there, Fonzie.
Yeah, in a perfect world, they would have one. Yeah.
In a perfect world, it would be great. I mean, just the fact because a lot of people are unhappy. Let's just say the wrestlers are now starting to become unhappy in regards to this. We all know that the cuts have always come. I mean, we've known that since the Vince McMahon era. There's always cuts after WrestleMania. There's always cuts after SummerSlam. But they would re-sign you and get you a different contract. But it just feels different now.
Yes.
I think the feeling is a whole lot different than it was back in those times. And even in the golden era, it was a different time. It was a dog world. The union would have never worked. But I think at this point in time in wrestling, it could work if done right.
I agree with you, but you look at this situation, like I said earlier, it feels soulless. It feels like it doesn't have, there's a missing ingredient. It's that ingredient that we felt the day before WrestleMania, the day of WrestleMania. You felt like it was a holiday. You felt excited about it, and you're watching the show, and it just, it felt wrong. All these commercials, all these glitches in the stream,
It's like The Rock says. You used to get the goosebumps. You used to get the goosebumps when you had WrestleMania. And now, I'll tell you this. WrestleMania just looked like a regular pay-per-view that WWE has put on.
That's a good point.
If you look, even the set just seems so simple. And WWE's been able to put big old sets out there that would look and make you feel like it's very important. This last WrestleMania, it just didn't feel like that.
TKO machine. It's just, you're getting ground beef. You're just getting cheap ground beef now. That's 80%. Not even 80%. That's 73% ground beef. A lot of fat.
Yeah.
A lot of fat. That fat is a lot of commercials.
By the way, I do have to address that we are live. This is the first time we're doing this. So Fonzie, I'm getting a lot of. I'm getting. That's the beauty of friends on texting and the live chat. We're getting like echo on your feed. Like I said, it's the beauty of life. I'm trying to fix it, but I am aware that we are getting echo of it.
Even if I can hear him, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I'm gonna try something. I know my boy Alex Pinch Alex is watching. So, Fonzie, I'm gonna have you talk, and then give me your thoughts on the Hulk Hogan thing. If I interrupt you, bro, I'm gonna have to interrupt you because
give me your thoughts on the Hulk Hogan documentary.
And then I'm gonna see if you still get the rebest. Go ahead.
There's a lot of things in this Hulk Hogan documentary that for myself, being a lifetime Hulkamaniac, probably the last 43 years, there wasn't a lot of new stuff. But the way they presented it, of course, there's a bunch of missing pieces, but the way they presented it was so good. I was surprised to see a Bret Hart in this documentary for the guy that hates everybody. But a lot of things, just looking back, it was done a good way. I'm glad that they did do one, and I hear there's still a lot of works that they can do some more. I read where the director says we got so much other foreign footage that we could still do, but at the moment they're still stuck at 4. But it was such a good way. At least you get to see for the new generation of wrestling fans, because excuse me, a lot of new wrestling fans don't know the history. And that's a lot of things. That's a lot of problem with the new generation of wrestling fans. They don't know the history. Why Hulk Hogan is the guy. Was the guy. Is Babe Ruth. Is Michael Jordan. Is Muhammad Ali. Of all those guys for wrestling.
Absolutely.
And he paid his dues. I mean, I'm glad that they put that. I mean, a lot of us know that that follow Hulk for such a long time. We know that what he did to pay his dues, and it gives the story, because today's wrestlers paying their dues is a whole lot different than what the golden era, the attitude era, had to pay their dues. Now, you guys were talking about house shows. Man, they're not even doing as many house shows as they did before. Traveling on that road, paying off your own dime.
All right, Fonzie. So we kind of fixed. So basically, the way, like I said, it's live. So the way it's gonna work is like when we talk, we're talking, and then you're like, we will let you speak, and then when you speak, you speak. We can't interrupt. Like I said, it's the first show, folks. That's the beauty of going live. That's how we like. So basically, the way the technical stuff, I have to mute us when we're speaking.
Oh.
And that way, because the mixer is coming back and sending you're hearing Fonzie twice. When I mute us, you can't hear the echo, and then I have to mute Fonzie, and then Fonzie's, when I unmute Fonzie, he's good to go. All right.
So Fonzie brings up a lot of great points.
Ahead.
I mean, Hulkamania, began in 1984, obviously, when he beat the Sheik for the heavyweight championship, and he took wrestling mega.
Yes.
He took it mainstream. You suddenly started seeing professional wrestlers, Hulk Hogan being on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Hulk Hogan being in Rocky III, and wrestling began this huge, long odyssey of being entertainment on a level that, again, mega, and Hulk Hogan wrestling wouldn't be what it is today without Hulk Hogan. The popularity, the over-the-top cartoon characters, the larger-than-life characters, all that is attributed to the Hulkster, Mando.
Yeah, and without Hogan, there's nothing. There's no Hulkamania. There's no the resurgence of wrestling, and then the same thing with he did it again when it was NWO.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought the documentary was very well done. Of course, everybody's gonna talk about the Hogan line, but honestly, I thought there was a type of documentary that they could have easily gone like at least 6 episodes. I thought they kind of rushed it. I thought they could have gone at least 6 episodes. Obviously for me the fourth one pulls your heartstrings, because when he passes away, then you have Nick Hogan working out by himself. That was kind of that kind of like if it doesn't get to you and you're in your feels, and there's something wrong with you. No matter what Hogan did, We all have different political beliefs. This is not the show for that. We don't get into politics.
No.
We never have. Like whatever you want to preach or whatever, that's on your dime.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, like I thought the documentary was well done. Like of course there's a bunch of lies, but because that's what Hogan's known for, But at the end of the day, like he was like, and think about this, because I'll bring this up too, and Alfonso, I'll let you speak in a couple of seconds. Is that also the Michael Jackson movie just came out? So think about both of these people, these superstars, Hulk Hogan and Michael Jackson. And think about the time, 1985, because I still think peak Hogan was 85, 86. That's when Hulk Hogan went wild. You talk about the Sports Illustrated. They did all that without social media. That, like I said, you can go in different countries. Everybody knew who Hulk Hogan was, and then everybody in the world knew who Michael Jackson was with no social media.
Zero. You didn't have any of this in your face.
Yeah.
You didn't have any of that. And, I mean, you brought up Michael Jackson, how this man nearly started riots, that they would put out a warrant because he nearly would start a riot, And, you brought up a good point. None of this was social media. That this was all, word of mouth. This was all like you tuned in. Your butt was sitting in a chair to watch these people on a certain night, certain hour.
Fonzie, we are going to pass the torch to you. Go.
So when we look, I mean, you guys talk about, Sports Illustrated. The only wrestler to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, mind you on that. You talk, Jackie said, yeah, he took it mainstream. He took it globally. Globally. You talk about wrestling, you talk about overseas, everywhere else. The name Hulk Hogan was the first name that you hear, even till this day. That's the name that everybody will recognize. Um, Hulk Hogan opened the doors for all these wrestlers to be in movies, to be in shows, to have everything that they have right now. You know, Mondo talked about it. There is no WrestleMania without Hulk, but without Hulk, you don't have Vince. Vince isn't as powerful and as great without Hulk, and Hulk isn't as great without Vince. That was a team. But that the machine was Hulk. The guy that was pushing it was Vince, and they did great stuff. They integrated the celebrities. How they try to do it now, but they integrated them then at the beginning because it was a major factor to bring in Hollywood and all types of celebrities. Because if you look at the very first WrestleMania, and because there's a WrestleMania channel 24/7, and I know that's on the stick there, Jack. I don't know if you've got that, but WrestleMania 20, it's 24/7. I was watching WrestleMania 1. They were showing all the celebrities that were at ringside, and because it wasn't that they were paid to be there. They were there because they wanted to be there. And the interviews in the back, it's stuff like that that they don't have now. Uh, it's forced and pushed upon. It just looks so fake.
All right, so I have to stop you there, Fonzie. So, Jack, I knew you want to respond to what he was saying.
As far as the celebrities are concerned, you bring up Muhammad Ali, you bring up Cyndi Lauper, you bring up, Bob Uecker, getting choked out by Andre. You had this gravitas of celebrities.
Liberace.
Oh my gosh, Liberace. Mr. T, of course. Now, I mean, come on, you got celebrities like, I don't even want to use the term. The term celebrity now regarding this YouTube generation, the social media generation. You got iShow Speed. You had Logan Paul now who did a crossover now. Who's a
I must stop you there. I will have to say is that like the iShow, like I didn't have a problem with iShow Speed because he actually went in there. He took, and like I said,
he took a bump.
Like some of these guys, and I'll be honest with you, right now. The best one has been Logan Paul, obviously, because he actually became a wrestler. He's on the roster. But before that, it was Bad Bunny who did, I was very impressed because he actually he trained and he did and did all that stuff. But that's the one thing I will say. This new generation of celebrities that they're putting in the ring are actually trying, like Jelly Roll, like I said, I respect the fact that he tried and he trained and went out there and he's doing his thing and lost a lot of weight. I have no problem with them being involved. That's what I'm saying. Like the iShow Speed, I had no problem. Got destroyed by Braun Breaker at the Rumble 2 years ago. But like I said,
But are they celebrities?
do Jelly Roll, Pat McAfee, yes, and even there's different like. iShow is a YouTube celebrity. I mean, he's making millions. He's got millions of subscribers. So I would have to say yes. It's just that it's a different type of celebrity now.
Okay.
But the one thing, like iShow, I had no problem with him being in the first match of WrestleMania. I have a problem when I have these guys in the main event of WrestleMania because that's kind of insulting. And by the way, what was the purpose of having Randy Orton finish the night one main event as the top heel, and then he hasn't come out on TV since then? That makes no sense to me.
Nope.
All right, Fonzie, I'm gonna send it up to you right now before we wrap it up with you. So right now, give me your thoughts on the current state of wrestling. What do you think? How everything's going? Like which one can you bear to watch more? WWE, AEW, TNA, or even New Japan or AAA? Which is the one that you gravitate to watching more?
I'll always be a WWE loyalist, even though we don't agree with what they're doing and how they're doing things, even though they've become predictable. I do love watching the Triple A on YouTube. God, they put a great show. I mean, because it's a show. It's the product that's going out there, and they're making. What wrestling is you got to make your smaller. You're as good as your smallest superstar, and how big can you make them? Triple A is doing that, and they're getting that push, and it's across the board. WWE still got to build their guys up a little bit. There is no, how is it, how they call it, attraction, because they're losing all their attractions in the WWE right now. So I mean, you've lost a Brock Lesnar. They're building Obama.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop you there. I'm gonna have to stop you there. Like they're building the next Goldberg and Obafemi. You can't. I'm gonna have to stop you because somebody's gonna say, "Hey, Fonzie doesn't know." Like I said, I'm gonna have to stop you.
You got Braun.
Because they're building their next. And what they're doing with Obafemi, I think that's the smartest thing that they're doing right now with Obafemi because, like I said, because even when they say Oba, it kind of sounds like they're saying Goldberg. So what they're doing with him, they got the open challenge. You had Otis come out yesterday, did his thing. I think what they're doing there is great with Obafemi. So, like, I'm going to have to kind of, like, take the other side with you. But like I said, Fonzie, it's cool if you feel that way. But like, in my eyes, they're building Obafemi to be the next big guy along with Braun Breaker. But the thing is that a lot of people are very impatient to see that happen. Do you want to say something before I go back to Fonzie?
I agree. No, I agree with you.
All right. Go ahead, Fonzie.
I mean, we look at Obafemi, and I think plans changed with the quick retirement of Brock Lesnar. Because I think me and you talked about it, Mando, before. I said, you know what? Make Oba look very strong, lose at WrestleMania, and then he retires Brock at SummerSlam because it's in Minnesota, hometown of Brock. But plans change. And I think they're going to build Oba to take on Roman somewhere down the line. I'm not sure if it's going to be this year or next year. But Braun Breaker coming back, they need to let him become the Scott Steiner type of deal, which we did kind of see this past Monday on Raw. You kind of got to see a little bit of that Scott Steiner uh, charisma. You know, I maybe changing the name because you know what? What's his name called him? He called him a Steiner, and that's opening those doors for those floodgates for that.
All right. Well, he is a Steiner, Jack. He's a Steiner, and
that's Ricky's boy.
The music, kind of like it's like they're going with the Scott Steiner stuff, as opposed to the Rick Steiner thing, because he looks more like Rick Steiner, but they're going all the pop and pop stuff because obviously he was more popular. Fonzie, I appreciate you, brother. All right. We'll talk again next week. So there's my boy Fonzie there. So Fonzie joining us, and like I said, the beauty of the live show is that, like I said, we're like learning how we do this type of thing. So, like I said, we had a little bit of echo, but we kind of figured that out there.
And it's good to hear what the people on the street think about the product right now, and what WWE loyalists, for better or worse, what they think of the their own product, and then that's cool. If that's what you dig, that's what you dig. Well, what do you see?
Well, Henry commenting that Kane pile driving Pete Rose is his favorite moment.
Oh, fantastic!
Of WrestleMania, of course, made into the Hall of Fame there. Since we're talking about WWE, let's talk Backlash very quickly. Of course, Backlash is going to be this weekend, and Roman versus
Jacob
Fatu. Now, the big thing with Roman, the big build-up when him and CM Punk went to WrestleMania, Roman was saying that, hey, bro, like, I'm going to be here all summer long. After he won the championship, that was a banger of a match. That made that instant classic for WrestleMania, him and CM Punk. So all of a sudden, now Roman's not going to be on Monday Night Raw in the month of June. So do you think that they're going to – I don't think they're going to pull the trigger this quickly and take the title off Roman, because it never happens. Like,
oh, man.
When Gunter faces Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, the next pay-per-view, I could see Gunter winning that because Cody has been the champion since, November?
Right.
So I can see him losing that, but, like, they're not going to let Roman drop the title to Jacob Fatu. I mean, but something that we don't expect. It would be very shocking to see. Do you think it's going to happen?
Monster to have 2 title changes on the same pay-per-view, to have 2 world title changes on the same pay-per-view. Shocking, yes. Could I see it happening? Sure, absolutely. Do I think it won't happen? No.
I don't think I don't think Fatu is ready yet to be the main guy there on Monday Night Raw. I don't think he's ready yet.
Here's the thing: the dude is golden. He's money on the mic.
Yep.
He's over with the crowd. You're watching these two go back and forth, and you wonder to yourself, okay, who's the heel? Who's the face? There's a huge gray area right now between the two. So. I mean, what do you do there? I would be okay if Jacob won the belt. I'd be okay with that. It'd be shocking if he did.
Yeah, it'd be
Put
shocking.
the Tongan death grip on his.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see if that would be the case, if they actually gave it to him there. Give me your thoughts on the whole. One of the guys that of course, he's doing great stuff is Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, dude.
Your thoughts on the progression of Dominic Mysterio the past couple of years, where he was where people thought he was going to get released very quickly, and now he's probably one of the best heels they have.
He's top 5, Mando. I mean, this kid, we've literally gotten to see him grow before our eyes. This is literally the guy who, we got to see a custody battle over with Eddie and Ray, and now we see him grow up, and now we see him when he turned on his father. We're like, this kid's not going to last. He's going to get cut, and then he has nuclear heat to the point where he gets on the microphone. He's booed so hard, déjame hablar. Let me speak. And that is money. When you have white-hot heat like that to where you can't even talk, and yet people look forward to seeing your matches, they want to see you lose, that's money.
Yeah.
And the fact that he crossed over so well in AAA and to win the Mega Campeon championship, and also to have the Intercontinental Championship when he did have it, dude, the kid is money. I think that eventually we could see him in a world title picture maybe down the line.
Your thoughts on Liv Morgan as we talk to the other member of the Judgment Day? Now they're going to do like a little Roxanne Perez thing. That's going to be the next match. They're teasing that already.
You hear that song of hers?
That's horrible. That is absolutely horrible.
And I can't stop listening to it.
Really, I can. But like I said, somebody sent me a video of back in the day when it was like Kurt Hennig and Scott Hall. I don't know if it was like an AWA video that they did together or whatever. And then I look back at the WWE, the wrestling album, not the one that was cool in the 90s, the one in the 80s.
Yeah.
Where they released with like Junkyard Dog was Grab Them Cakes, and like
you had Hulk Hogan with the hard hat.
Yeah, and all those. Yeah, it was called the album, whatever it was called, like. That Liv Morgan song is not as bad as that. So, like, I'll give her that. It is not as bad as that. I thought, like, it's kind of cringe at first. It's got a catchy beat, but like, when you go back and look at the other stuff they're doing, I was like, oh, man. So I understand.
Sure. Yeah. That's how I feel about Liv. I think she's a great. Her in-ring performance, I think she's great. Pretty much all the females that are on that roster. Look, I really want to see another female-led pay-per-view. I think that'd be really cool too. I'm sorry, PLE.
Yes, at CORL Martinez says Wrestle Rock. Yeah, I think that's
there it is.
Pile Driver. Fonzie says it was called Pile Driver. So as we switch our focus to AEW now, the one thing I will give AEW, they're, like I said, we're catching up. Like I said, when we do more of these shows, we're going to get specific and talk about specific storylines and things of that nature. Because like I said, this is our first show, so we're kind of just talking in general with everything that's going on in the state of professional wrestling. When I look at AEW, when it comes to the matches, like I said, they're banger of matches, but is it too much? Like, I mean, do you like, if every match is basically exactly the same,
right?
Is it too much for an audience member? Because like I said, that's what I'm saying. Like every match, like I said, they're bangers, but like I said, if every match is basically the same, you know, I mean, you got to change it up a little bit.
You're getting a little too saturated now with in the AEW market. I do appreciate that you have Darby Allin, who is a fighting champion, but you know, one of the things that you would look forward to back in the day is you would see the champion wrestle maybe a few times on Monday, a few times on SmackDown, a few times on, you know, the other events, and then you wouldn't they wouldn't wrestle. You would have the build up. You'd have the build up towards the pay-per-view, and then that would have you tune in. I think right now Darby needs a few things. He needs to have that big bad villain. He needs to have that big bad and, you know, antithesis towards him right now. He doesn't have that. I thought it was going to be Brody. I thought it would be great to have Brody to be, you know, the opposite of him, but he needs to have a big bad right now challenge him and to really keep him off of defending that title week in and week out so far. Like, you got to remember, he just won that belt. He just won it. So now, but he's now defending it every night.
And that was a shock to see. I was shocked that they gave him the championship, especially since.
You think so?
And the pay-per-view before that, like a couple of days before that, MJF had a tremendous match to keep the championship, and then they took it off him. That's the one thing is that you don't know what. That's the one thing when you keep your audience guessing. That's a great thing to see. The one thing I absolutely love about AEW is that they bring in a lot of the talent from Japan. I think that's great to see some of the wrestlers that they're bringing up all there.
One of my favorite, you know, pay-per-views as far as AEW is concerned is Forbidden Door. Yep, there you go. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that pay-per-view again. But I'm looking forward to more of the slow burn, natural build and progression of the big bad, the big challenge that the champion needs to have. And Darby needs to have that right now. Will it be from Swerve? Will it be from Hangman? Who will it be from? Will it be from anybody that we haven't seen in a while? Will it be from somebody that was on the WWE roster that will eventually, after 90 days, show up on AEW television? Because you know you're going to see that happen very soon. Yeah.
And by the way, right now, one of the best wrestlers, I think, in all of wrestling. Actually, there's two of them, and they're both female wrestlers. One of them is WWE, Stephanie Vaquer.
Yep.
It's a shame that she's injured right now. I was very disappointed at how little time they actually gave the women's championship match at WrestleMania. That's a travesty. But on the AEW side, the best female wrestler they've got, without a doubt, she's got the total package. And the WWE fumbled that is Toni Storm. She is like the most entertaining female wrestler. Actually, one of the most entertaining wrestlers in a very long time.
Toni Storm became a generational talent once she went into AEW with the black and white timeless gimmick. Dude, she draws. That's one of the reasons why I tuned into AEW, was to see what Toni Storm was doing. She is great on the mic. She is great in the ring. So 100%, dude, if Toni Storm is on that card, I'm watching. Another one that I'll throw out here to you, too, is the current champion, Thekla. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Dude, that girl is money, and she's nice to look at, too.
The one thing I will say about AEW is the fact that they do have a lot of championships. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of which champion is what champion, you know. So we're going to have another a guest joining us here in a couple of seconds, and that will be Paul Torres here. As there you see Paul, and we're going to need him to, like, you can see yourself. Center your camera there, Paul, a little bit. maybe a little bit more to your right. There's the beauty of live. Um, there you go. There you go. There's but we lost you.
There, right there.
There's Paul. Okay, so Paul, we're gonna let you speak. So go ahead and say your piece, my friend.
What's up, guys? How you doing, man? Just want to be a little brief. I mean, not feeling great. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit under the weather, but I did want to, quickly touch base because hey, you can't, you know, you can't not have slamming it without the terrible one, man.
Yep, Paul was actually one of the with me and Scott. Paul was I believe he wasn't the producer for the first show, but he came. So it was me, Paul, and Scott. Because eventually, when me and Scott were like in the little room, which was basically Steve's office, Paul became the producer. So Paul, so terrible one is part of the show. So Paul, before we let you speak some more, right now, like your thoughts on the product right now. We're talking about AEW versus WWE. I mean, do you think AEW is catching up to the WWE? Do you think WWE is blowing it with all this corporations, with all the commercials and things of that?
I'll be honest with you. I can't get into the AEW thing as much because of the fact that I don't know. I feel like every time I start watching AEW, there's a lot more talk. You know what I mean? And I get more wrestling for my buck watching TNA. TNA to me is right now, one of the best things to watch. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I really enjoy TNA. You know what I mean? And like you just said a while ago, they always give El Paso love and everything like that. Something that I mentioned even on the chat. You know what I mean? You were talking about wrestling intros and songs and stuff like that, and something that people don't realize. A lot of people don't realize, because there were comments at one point. They were saying, who's Crystal Poppin and everything like that. That's who did the intro for Blanchard's intro. You know what I mean? So, Tessa Blanchard, she's awesome right now. And you know what I mean? What can I say? That intro, I honestly think that's one of the best intros in TNA right now.
Yeah, Jack. When we looked at Krista Pop and of course Tessa Blanchard was here for both shows. They did two shows in El Paso last year. They did one like in I think it was in May, and then they came in December. And of course, current champion Mike Santana. Of course, when he came, spent a lot of time. I got to interview him I think 3 times when the last time they came, and also the Hardys and Nick Nemeth when he came. But yeah, Paul. Like I wasn't expecting him to say TNA. I was expecting when. Paul to say one of the other federations, but TNA does a good job there, Jack.
Yeah, and I agree. You get more bang for your buck. You get a lot of matches out of the gate. You get a lot of good quality matches across the board. But Santana being the champ, you got Ariana Grace as
that is correct.
The ladies champion right now.
Leon Slater.
Yep. Slater's the X Division champion.
Yes.
Right now. And I think that's what's great about TNA is that you have the heavyweight division, which Santana leads, and then the X division, I think, is, pound for pound, some of the best wrestling that you'll see. That is where you'll get some of your high flying. That is where you'll get some of your really super athletic. And also, it's not just for, the smaller person. It's the bigger person, too. So you'll have both, compete very well in the X division.
The one thing that I have noticed with TNA, they're kind of old school. Mm-hmm. What I mean about that is that when they come into a city, they send like 2 representatives, whether it be a male or female wrestler, and they're in that city for like a whole week of press. So this is like when they barely announced the tickets are going to go on sale. That's the one thing that TNA does. They really go out there. I mean, I was very surprised the last time they came here.
It wasn't Santana with you?
Santana was here, but also the Hardys. The Hardys were came in and did like a whole week of media before the event as well. So, Paul, what are some of the other things you like?
Well, I mean, something that that you got to revisit is because of the fact that sometimes you run into wrestlers that they were on WWE back in the day, like the Hardys. That's something that I really love and everything like that. You know what I mean? So, like you just said, you get more wrestling for your buck. That's my opinion. I mean, I really enjoy the fact that, I always get to see it's actual true wrestling. You know what I mean? And it doesn't seem like there's much talk in TNA. AEW, it seems like they're always talking about something. You know what I mean? They're arguing, and it's like 20 minutes of, this and that. And WWE's, they have their share too. Don't get me wrong. But honestly, I in my opinion, TNA's the best. I'm always missing AAA wrestling on YouTube. I always forget it. I don't know why, but
Well, the beauty of AAA is it's on YouTube. You can still go back to the channel and watch it. Jack, you were going to say.
Oh, no, I agree with them, wholeheartedly, because, TNA right now has found this sweet spot where everything just really clicks well. And like you said, it does feel old school because the backstage segments lead to something. The interference will lead to something. The matches lead to something bigger. And every wrestler really has a spot that you look forward to watching. And you haven't felt that way. Me personally, I haven't felt that way in a very long time. But with that company, I do feel like that.
Paul, we're gonna let you go, brother. I appreciate you, and thanks for joining us. There's a terrible one, Paul Torres, joining us here on our first show back in
21 years.
21 years, a brief hiatus that we have been talking about. So you talk about TNA, and honestly, I'll be honest with you. The reason why TNA gets right to it is because they don't have that many shows. Right? They have the
they do a lot of live shows though, like a lot of house shows.
They got a lot of house shows.
To do that.
So when they're coming to El Paso in December 17th and 18th, it's going to be the Impact show is going to go live, and then I'm assuming they're going to tape the Impact because what they did when they came in El Paso last year, they did I think three shows, and those were the Impact shows. They did the pay-per-view live on Friday, then they did a taping of the Impact on Saturday, and a taping of another Impact on Sunday. So that was basically the end of the year was here in El Paso. So I'm curious if they're going to do the same thing.
That in itself, and this goes back to what we were talking about. This goes back to what Will Ospreay brings up. It's that feeling. Bring that feeling in TNA. And really, our Ring of Honor, too, will lock into that feeling of watching a live event for going, knowing that what you're going to watch means something, and it's going to lead to something.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool that they do that with El Paso.
Now, let me jump back to the WWE because, like I said, we talk about the releases about Kofi and, of course, the New Day and Xavier Woods, Aleister Black.
And his wife.
That's one of the ones where – like, he had a great gimmick, and it's crazy because from the sources that we have, they were saying that he was going to be the third man with Randy Orton as opposed to Pat McAfee.
Who was this?
Aleister Black.
Oh, okay.
Because you saw him that when they were doing the interviews that he would be in the background.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the video games. You're playing the WWE video game, and then like you're doing your little cutscene. Then there's somebody in the back, a back wrestler. That's how it was with Aleister Black. So I don't know if he's going to be able to go back to AEW because it sounds like he kind of burned his bridges there. It's going to be tough.
I think he will go back there. You do hear stories though that
you just never know.
He felt that people are saying that he felt like it was in the minor leagues, that he was just buying his time. And the one thing that we don't really know about Tony Khan yet is that will he be gracious enough to let him come back? Will he be okay with him coming back?
Well, I think the main thing is will the roster take him back? Because remember that
point too.
MJF right away said nope, not coming back. There was a couple of wrestlers right away that responded negatively, but I mean it is what it is. I mean I could see the program building there. I mean remember many moons ago Roman Reigns did a podcast. That he said that because CM Punk was that's what CM Punk was AEW. He said that they would never ever wrestle, and that's why he came out with the needle mover T-shirt because Roman Reigns said I'm the needle mover, and he made that.
Yep. You also had Seth Rollins do the same thing about CM Punk calling him a cancer.
If they can make money, they're going to do something with it.
And that goes back to Vince too. If he felt that you would make money, he'd bring you back.
So it's when you think about the Aleister Black gimmick, where he's like supernatural, gothic,
mob boss,
something like that. Somebody that has basically the same gimmick but in comedy form, and is gonna make you laugh, and it's very kid friendly. And when he first debuted, people were like, "What is this?" But they booed him. But I knew that when I saw him in the independent shows, and even when for that limited time that they actually had him in AEW, that I was like, "Dude, this guy is money."
Oh.
And I'm talking about Danhausen.
You
Your thoughts on the emergence of Danhausen were like. By the way, before I let you give your thoughts. Top merchandise sellers at WrestleMania this past year, couple weeks ago.
He's in there.
Number one was CM Punk. Number 2 was Cody. Number 3 was Danhausen, a guy that made his debut a month before that.
Let me tell you, man, I have been a Hausen. Jack Hausen is a fan of Danhausen.
Yep.
And I've liked this guy ever since he was in the indie circuit. And there's just something about him. As silly as he comes across, there is a sincerity, and he leans into it. And there's a commitment with this character. There's a commitment that latches on to everybody, whether it be the adults, whether it be the kids. He has found a niche with this WWE audience. A lot of people didn't think it would happen, and it has happened. You've got other shows wondering how this meteoric rise has happened. I'm listening to, not Jim Ross, I'm listening to Jim Cornette talk about how he doesn't really understand the meteoric rise of Danhausen. Look, man, when it clicks, it clicks.
Yeah, just because you don't get it, that does not mean it's not working.
Right.
And by the way, I love Jim Cornette because he's so negative about everything. It makes me laugh.
The drive-in.
Yeah, but you look at Danhausen, and the one thing, like, as much as Danhausen, you got to have, like, your yin and your yang. Like, if you're going to be Batman, you got to have the Joker. If you're going to be Superman, you got to have your Lex Luthor, And right now, the guy that is the Joker, the Lex Luthor to Danhausen, and this guy, when he leaves, everybody's going to, like, realize how great he has been for the 20 years.
How awesome he's been.
The Miz. Think about The Miz.
Knew you were going.
The Miz is the guy that when they bring, like, a celebrity, they throw him to The Miz because The Miz is going to take care of that. Like, think about that. The Miz was Bad Bunny. Every time when they bring in celebrities to WrestleMania, most of the time it's him. So now The Miz, like, he's helping these guys because he realizes towards the end of his career. But the stuff The Miz is doing with Kit Wilson and Danhausen is just absolutely amazing.
I hate to use the term gatekeeper right now.
Yeah.
But he's the guy that if it's going to work, dude, you'll know if it's with The Miz.
Yep.
You know it will.
And by the way, his run a couple of years ago when he was the Intercontinental Champion as a heel was probably the best work he did.
I mean, come on. When he defended the championship at WrestleMania against John Cena and he won, that was awesome.
Okay. So back to Backlash. We bring this up because Danhausen taking on The Miz and Kid Wilson. Who do you think is going to be his guest tag team partner?
Danhausen?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was thinking about this, and I've been drawing a blank.
And I'll let you think about that too. Like, so John Cena tweeted yesterday that he's going to be there at Backlash.
It's not going to be Cena
because it's in Tampa. Of course, he lives in Tampa, but
it's not going to be, dude. He's done.
There's no way. I mean, he can actually go in there with a suit. He can, like, be his tag team partner, not actually wrestle.
I think that would cheapen the experience, the retirement.
I mean, I would think. I mean, R-Truth right now is a tag team champion with Damian Priest.
Dude, I have been thinking about this for a while, and
so that's good. So that's good. That means you're intrigued to see who's going to be there, which is great to see.
They succeeded
yes, they have.
In the curiosity segment there, and I do want to see who it's going to be, and I'm wondering who other people think. Who's his partner going to be? Tell us, who do you think it's going to be?
So the question is, who do you think is going to be Danhausen? So then let me switch to the other thing. What do you think the big announcement is going to be with Cena? Because he said that the tweet that it's going to be a better experience for the fans and then the wrestlers and things of that nature. You think it might be with that WWE, like, Access thing that they're bringing up, whatever it was called, that the new AEW is doing the same thing where they got, like, a new VIP thing for some fans, but if they do that, that's just a money grab. And if you're doing that, then TKO has lost their damn mind because, like I said, we talked about how expensive these tickets are to watch these events.
I'm thinking that they're going to combat the expenses that people have with the tickets with something a little bit more interactive whether it be online, whether it be on your phone, whether it be streaming. I think it's going to be something interactive for the viewing audience, something. And I'm being vague there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think for me, I think he's going to announce that WrestleMania is going to be like in Europe or something.
That's rough, dude. That's rough.
I mean, I think remember he did it was it 2 years ago where he said that he came out in the June pay-per-view when it was in Europe, and he said that they should have WrestleMania in London. I mean, they're already doing in Saudi Arabia next year. I think what they really need to do, they need to come back to the United States in 2028 and do it back in New Orleans, and because they messed that up, and then possibly 2029 be like in, I guess, London. I don't know.
Yeah, look, I think right now at this point, if you have a Mania that's not going to be in Las Vegas but still be in the United States, I think that's going to be a win.
I think they kind of rocked the boat there with Las Vegas. So let's talk about the rest of the Backlash card. Cool. Of course, Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. Do they give Braun, even though Braun's coming off as a monster, is he ready to beat Seth yet? Really? I don't think so.
I think Mando, and I want to hear your point of view.
Go ahead.
I think he has an incredible amount of momentum right now. The dude you can literally see the steam behind him from the amount of momentum that he has. It would be foolish not to have him go over Seth at this point because, dude, Seth, for better or worse, man, he is prone to injury. Yeah. He's either going to injure somebody or he's going to injure himself, and his track record speaks for itself for everybody that he's injured in the past. So, I mean, he did it to Braun. You see, Braun had to have staples in the back of his head.
That kind of was a receipt because of the spear that he gave him at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But how funny is this, is that when they went with that fake injury angle with Rollins at WrestleMania, all of them ended up being injured except for Logan Paul and Theory.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see that.
They got
I don't think Breaker, because I think they need to extend this. I think they need to extend this for at least another 2 months.
So
I would think so.
Let's just say, and I want to build up on your thoughts on this. Let's say that Braun does beat Seth.
Mm-hmm.
If that does happen, I think that you would then have to put a title on Braun, whether it be Intercontinental title, whether it be United States Championship. You would have to put something on him. And then eventually you would put him in the title picture. I'm trying to see your point of view.
Well, remember, he's been the Intercontinental Champion. Like, it's been almost like 2 years since he's been the Intercontinental Champion. So, like, and by the way, I love what they're doing with Penta, where, like, they're like, he's defending the championship. But Penta, like, I don't think you take the title off Penta right now. That's the thing is, like, if Braun does beat Seth, where do you go from there? He's not going to go against Roman. Because he's doing the whole Fatu thing with because they're basically doing Bloodline 2.0. Because the way I see this going, I see Roman beating Fatu, and then Fatu is going to have to acknowledge Roman, so he's going to have to join him with the Usos. And they're basically the way we're running back Slammin It, they're basically running back the Bloodline. At least that's how I see it.
Sure. Okay. Let's say Seth does win. Where does that put Seth? Back in the title picture?
Yes.
Where does that put Braun?
Well, they already teased that because remember the start of Raw yesterday, Roman wanted to go out and then
you're in my way.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And then so they're kind of already teasing that.
Okay, I could see that.
Yeah.
On second thought, I could see that. That is the beauty of a debate.
That it is, but like I said, nobody's right or wrong. You're just curious to see how but I do believe with Braun, like think about it, they're saying that Braun, it should have been Braun and CM Punk for the championship, but then they really didn't think that Braun was ready. But I think he's ready in some aspect. I just think he needs to get over this hump, but I don't think they'll give it to him yet. I think they'll give it to him maybe in the next pay-per-view.
Maybe this goes back to what I was talking about, that you do come back to this slow burn.
When is Hell in a Cell? Do they still do that pay-per-view,
yes.
or that's like once in a while they do it?
We got to look that up.
Yeah, I think those guys are going to end up in a Hell in a Cell, and then I think Breaker's going to win that. So
okay.
One guy that we haven't mentioned yet is, and by the way, the job that Shawn Michaels is doing at NXT is amazing. Trick Williams,
always
just one of these guys that just also like is hitting the stride at the right time.
The slap. Mm-hmm. He's got the slap.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's taking on Sami Zayn.
Yeah, I think that's been a very good feud too, and I think Trick is another one. This goes back to what we were talking about. You're going to have your attractions, and I think Trick, for better or worse, dude, how good he is on the microphone, how he is in the ring, that guy, you're going to see him in a title picture very, very soon.
Yeah, so
world title.
So
world title
that match, Trick Williams versus Sami Zayn, I think Trick Williams is going to win. I think Sami Zayn should be a champion. Eventually, he's going to have to win it, but I think he's going to have to be a heel to win that championship. But I don't see him entering that picture right now because you got Gunther in the picture now, so that's going to be your money match there for SummerSlam.
Sammy's a peculiar figure right now. I think he's hung around a little too long in the WWE picture. I think that for all I know, he could be very, very happy where he is. If he has a change of scenery, I really do think AEW would pick him up right away.
Io Sky versus Asuka, that could be the match of the night. Honestly, could be the match of the night. By the way, of all the besides the New Day, but they left because they didn't want to give him a pay cut. But the one that got released that I was in shock was Kairi Sane, because she was in a storyline every single week on Monday Night Raw, involved in WrestleMania, like the backstage set, whatever. She was kind of involved, right? But the fact that they got rid of Kairi Sane, that surprised the hell out of me, because she's been doing such a tremendous job. So we never got to see her get the separation, because that was the Asuka versus Kairi Sane would have been the money match, but we're never going to see that. So that one shocked me. So now we're getting the Io Sky versus Asuka, which I believe should be the match of the night.
I think that will be the show stealer right there. I think Asuka performs at an incredibly high level too. So I could see Asuka winning that. I could.
I see Io Sky winning that match.
Wow.
Like I said,
again. Okay.
So I guess the big thing about Backlash is, by the way, because we're going to wrap up the show here, we've got about an hour and a half, which is good.
By the way,
do you have a problem? Because I have a problem with the fact that these they're no longer called pay-per-views; they're called PLEs. That Triple H likes to have only like 6 matches for these PLEs, when easily they can have like at least 2 more matches.
Yeah. I do have.
I'm not talking about WrestleMania. I'm talking about the regular.
I can't talk about Mania. How they only had 5 matches on night one.
Yeah, Mania, because Mania was
sucked.
Mania, they did it to the extreme.
That sucks.
But I'm talking like a regular.
No, I have a huge problem with that. Again, this goes back to what I mentioned earlier. If you're going to invest that many hours on a PLE, what are you getting in return? How many matches are you going to get returned? If I'm going to sit my butt down for 2, maybe 3 hours, you better give me 8 to 10 matches. If not more, you better give me that many.
Yeah. So I like I said, I have a problem with that. So that they have, and Saturday night's main event. I'm glad they brought it back.
Yep.
But I guess like I said, I understand you got to make your money, you got to get paid. But when you're already paying subscription service and you're still getting commercials, I know that's what's irking a lot of people. So it comes back and it goes back to we're full circle to how we started, how TKO is running the WWE. Are they really alienating a bunch of the fans there? How long do you think it's going to be before they actually do something? Because they're coming to Las Cruces. We're currently in Las Cruces at the gym. That's literally what's it called. Here, or the Jack's Gym. You should just call it Jack's Gym, because the other owner, which is also named Jack, you just call it Jack's Gym.
Kale.
Yeah. So if the tickets are starting at $70 here in Las Cruces for a house show, and the front row tickets are $800, and mind you, people will buy them. Yeah. But eventually, it's going to get to the situation where. And in this economy where it's costing you $4 for gas, $5 for gas, they're gonna have to scale it down eventually, dude. Because if not, it's gonna go back to the before Cody on the come up, before the bloodline, where they're really struggling. It's gonna be the same thing.
Mondo, they will run this until the wheels fall off. They will run this until the blood has been soaked, dripped out of the rock. As long as a fool and his money will part ways, they will do this for as long as it takes.
Yeah.
So
So we'll see.
There's your answer.
Hopefully it's a good show. Don't forget Dynamite is tomorrow. Look forward to that. We'll talk more about that. Like I said,
How long did we go? How long?
We've gone about an hour and 34 minutes. And like I said, it was the first show, so we're just
Didn't
kind of
feel like it.
No, getting our feet wet. So like next week we'll do more of the specific thing where we break down the particular shows. We'll break down Backlash and we'll preview like the up and coming stuff. So like it was more like getting used to doing the thing again.
I'd like to think that we picked up where we left off.
Yes. And for the people watching, thank you so much for watching. I know it's first of all, May the 5th, by the way.
Revenge
of the 5th. I know it's Cinco de Mayo. I know it's Taco Tuesday. People doing a lot of stuff. But for those of you that were watching here live, we do appreciate it. So until next week, Jack, any other final thoughts before we wrap it up here after the 21-year hiatus of this Slammin' It Back?
I think, like I said earlier, we picked up where we left off, and the proof is in the pudding, man. People wanted this. We were giving it to them, and this is. I'm glad that you called me up.
Yes, and like I said, we'll figure out the issue with the echo. But like you said, now you saw kind of how it's going to be. How we had Fonzie, we had Paul. So that means if you're watching, you're going to be. We're going to have more people next week because, like I said, Cinco de Mayo, people are doing some stuff, But nonetheless, Jack, once again, give everybody the plug for your gym.
So the gym Las Cruces, we are open Monday through Monday, baby. We do not close. We've got a special right now, $30, and we've got military specials, police specials, fireman specials, first responders, student specials here. So come on out, ask about that. We are located here at 1690 South Valley Drive, open from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Well, longer, depending on how we're feeling.
And how can they listen to you on the radio here in Las Cruces?
You can download the app. We've got the Rock 104.9 in the App Store, Google Play Store, Rock 104.9 FM. You can listen to me live every morning, 6A to 10A, Monday through Friday. And immediately after that, it is 10 till 2, 10A, 2 p.m. on 101 Gold, KVLC, 101.1 FM. Also, download the app in the Google Play App Store, or 101gold.com. A lot of ways that you can listen to us. You got me in the radio now.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point, to be able to pump your stuff. And
so
don't forget, on Mondays and Fridays, you can
what
listen.
About you? What about
Mondays
you?
On Fridays, you can listen to me with Johnny, Javi, and Romy on the. It's now 92.7. Mix where before it was 104 Hit FM, so they switched frequencies. So now every Monday, it's about around 8 o'clock. I do a little sports segment there with Johnny and the guys. Have a good time out there.
And they've got a heck of a good show too.
They do. It's very funny. 92.7. So, but like I said, that's where you can see us. And then I've got the other stuff. Of course, we're kind of down low right now with EP Broadcast, waiting for high school football to start. We get going there. So for everybody that joined us here on this first one, we do appreciate everything. By the way, before Fonzie says Sammy needs to go, waiting on the return of KO. Kevin Owens is like, I don't think he's going to come back because of his health.
He's messed up, man.
Yeah.
So Kevin's enjoying life right now with his son, his great family. So I think if anything, he'll come back maybe in a manager position. So we'll see about that. We will see.
And we'll see what we're going to do the show from next week, because I'm going to be coming to Las Cruces every single week. I'm telling you right now, So I'm telling you right now,
take the gap.
I get you, whatever. But you go to the Far East, you're going to have to do that. So, but nonetheless, for Jack Almantra, thank you so much for joining us for this first installment of many, hopefully, of Slammin' It.
Okay, bye.